The fog of Viridian 7 was not like Earth's fog. It was alive, sentient in ways the galaxy's greatest xenobiologists couldn't fully explain. It moved with purpose, suffocated flames before they could catch, and had driven 3 separate colonization attempts to failure. The Kiln Empire had tried first, their plasma forges dying within hours. The Xanthari Collective followed, watching their fusion reactors flicker and fade. Even the proud Orvaxians, masters of stellar engineering, had retreated after losing an entire settlement to cold and starvation. But humans, as the galaxy would soon learn, were different. Angelina Reeves stood at the edge of the colony's makeshift command center, staring into the perpetual gray that surrounded New Haven. Her breath misted in the cold air, a cruel irony given that their heating systems had failed 3 days ago. Behind her, 200 colonists from a dozen species huddled in thermal blankets, their hopes dimming like the portable lights scattered around the shelter. "We should evacuate," growled Commander Thex, a Krillian whose metallic skin had lost its usual luster in the cold. "My people tried this world. It cannot be done." Rock Martinez appeared from the fog like a ghost, his heavy boots crunching on the frost-covered ground. The stocky engineer carried a tablet in one hand and a strange, satisfied smile on his weathered face. Angelina recognized that expression. It was the same one he'd worn when they'd crash-landed on that asteroid in the Kepler belt, right before he'd jury-rigged their engines with mining equipment. "Can't be done?" Rock said, pulling off his gloves. His hands were covered in gray clay. "Funny thing about humans, Commander. We've been cooking with fire since before we had words for it. Millions of years of evolution. We got real good at it." Angelina felt a spark of hope. "You found something? Better." Rock activated his tablet, projecting a holographic image of a crude, dome-shaped structure. The fog kills fire by flooding it with specialized particles, dampens oxidation. Every species that came here tried to fight it with technology. Force fields, oxygen saturators, chemical accelerants, all failed because they were fighting the fog. "And you're not fighting it?" asked Selthara, a Xanthari scientist whose tentacles were wrapped tightly around her core for warmth. Rock's grin widened. "Hell no, I'm using it. See, humans figured out something 30,000 years ago. If you can't burn it hot, burn it slow. And if you can't burn it open, burn it closed." Over the next 6 hours, Rock directed a team of humans and curious aliens to construct something the galaxy hadn't seen in centuries. A primitive kiln. They dug into the clay-rich soil of Viridian 7, forming thick walls with their hands. The structure was crude, almost laughable compared to the fusion reactors and plasma forges scattered around them like technological tombstones. Angelina worked alongside Rock, shaping clay bricks while he explained his theory. The fog can't get inside a sealed chamber, and clay, once it's fired, holds heat like nobody's business. We start small, just enough heat to create a reaction. Then we seal it up tight and let basic chemistry do its thing. "But how will you start the fire?" Thex demanded. "The fog will kill it instantly." Rock pulled out a handful of iron-rich rocks and magnesium strips salvaged from their shuttle. "Good old thermite reaction. Burns hot enough and fast enough that the fog can't stop it before we seal the chamber. Once it's sealed, the fog's locked out and the heat builds on itself." The first attempt failed. The second burned too hot and cracked the clay. But on the third try, as Viridian 7's dim sun began to set, smoke began to rise from the kiln's chimney. Not the clean exhaust of advanced technology, but thick, primitive smoke that smelled of burning wood and victory. The aliens gathered around in amazement as Rock opened the kiln's front chamber. Inside, heated by the internal fire that had burned for 6 hours in defiance of the fog, were 20 clay pots filled with stew made from their dwindling rations, now hot, cooked, and ready to eat. Angelina ladled out the first bowl and handed it to Commander Thex. The Krillian warrior stared at the steaming liquid as if it were a miracle. "It's just food," Rock said, though his voice carried a note of pride. "But it's hot food. And where there's one kiln, we can build 20. 100. We can fire bricks for permanent shelters. We can smelt ore. We can create heat for the whole colony." Selthara's analytical mind was already racing. "The energy efficiency is terrible compared to our reactors. Your reactors are expensive sculptures right now," Rock countered. "This works. It's low-tech, it's sustainable, and it doesn't require anything the fog can shut down." That night, as 200 colonists ate their first hot meal in days, something shifted in the settlement. The other species began to understand what the galaxy had consistently underestimated about humanity. They had climbed from the caves not through superior strength or natural advantages, but through stubborn, creative persistence. When the universe said impossible, humans heard try harder. Within a week, New Haven had 15 kilns operating continuously. Angelina oversaw the construction of brick houses that retained heat far better than their prefabricated shelters. Rock taught the colonists, human and alien alike, the ancient arts that their species had forgotten or never learned. Pottery, metalworking, controlled combustion. The Krillians, once proud of their plasma forges, learned to appreciate the steady, reliable heat of a wood-fired furnace. The Xanthari, masters of energy manipulation, discovered that sometimes the simplest solution was the best one, and the Orvaxians, when they returned months later to check on the doomed colony, found New Haven thriving, smoke rising from dozens of chimneys, defying the fog that had defeated them. Commander Thex stood with Angelina and Rock at the colony's new center, a massive communal kiln that served as both bakery and gathering place. "I owe your species an apology," the Krillian admitted. "We thought your lack of advanced evolution was a weakness." Rock laughed, pulling a fresh loaf of bread from the oven. "Advanced? Commander, we're the species that conquered our world with rocks and sticks. Then we conquered our solar system. Then we started on the galaxy. You know why?" "Why?" asked Selthara, genuinely curious. Angelina answered, her voice filled with quiet pride. "Because we never forgot where we came from. Every human carries 1,000,000 years of ancestors who looked at an impossible problem and said, 'Let me try something crazy.' We went to the stars, but we brought the cave with us." Rock broke the bread and shared it around. "They said no fire could burn in the fog. They were right. No advanced fire could burn. But we didn't need advanced. We just needed fire. The same fire our ancestors used. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." As the bread passed from hand to tentacle to claw, the message was clear. Humanity's strength wasn't in matching the galaxy's technology, but in remembering that technology was just a tool, and the best tool was the one that worked. The fog still rolled across Viridian 7, ancient and eternal, but now smoke rose to meet it. The smoke of human ingenuity, fed by the flames that had carried humanity from caves to the stars, and would carry them further still.